Hi, my name is Tamara Lee. I am going to be doing a presentation about transformative leadership in action, meeting the needs of every student with ASD or autism. To start out, our goals for this presentation, my goals to teach you, are to explore research-based leadership trends that support students with ASD or autism, learn strategies administrators, teachers, and support staff can use, strengthen skills in advocacy, collaboration, and productive team culture, and hopefully help you apply the best practices to real school environments to better meet students' needs. So what does leadership mean to you? If I was doing this presentation in front of a group, I would have them go to menti.com, use that code, and then I would pull up the word cloud on my screen so we can talk about it, so we can see it, and then we would talk about it a little bit of, why do you think this is good? So creative or focus, like what makes that a good leader and why not the other ones? So I talk about that. But today's focus of what we're going to do, of what the slides are going to be, leadership styles, productivity strategies, collaboration strategies, family and school partnerships, research-based leadership approaches, and practical techniques for daily use. So what are types of leadership that support students with autism? There are 4 types that we're going to talk about: emotional, servant, transformational, and transactional. We're going to start with servant leadership. Servant leadership, let me move this. Servant leadership is when the leader prioritizes the needs of students, families, and staff instead of their own. When the leader focuses on empathy, listening, and empowering others. And when the leader creates psychological safe environments where educators feel supported. Technology. Okay, transactional leadership is where the leader uses clear expectations, structures, and accountability systems. When the leader is effective for maintaining consistency in behavior plans, data collection, and routines, and helps the staff, teachers do that as well. And when the leader supports compliance with policies while ensuring predictable supports for students. There is emotional leadership, which is when the leader uses self-awareness and relationship building to strengthen the teams. When the leader helps other leaders in the school, their colleagues, navigate challenging conversations with empathy. And when the leader supports staff well-being, reducing burnout, and enhancing collaboration. And then there's transformational leadership. Transformational leadership takes the best parts of the first 3 we talked about and then adds to it. So the adding part is they inspire and motivate staff toward that shared vision. They encourage innovation, continuous improvement, and collaboration, which we're going to talk about. And transformational leadership styles, and any leader who tries to be that, they build confidence and build a culture focused on inclusive practices and student-centered decision making. So the student is why we're here. Let's focus on helping them learn and grow. So we're going to talk about 3 productivity strategies. The first one is weekly PLCs. PLC is professional learning community. So we need to, as we meet in our professional learning communities, there are different ones. It can be a grade level PLC, it can be a content-based, it can be a bunch of singleton teachers, so teachers who don't quite fit, like art, music, cooking, they can meet together, and there's questions, there's guiding things that they focus on for the students. Part of that is aligning student goals, supports, and interventions. They also promote collective problem solving. So in a PLC, it's not one person doing all the work, leading everything, trying to get everything done. They're working together to problem solve. So if it's an academic issue, they're saying, hey, how do you teach this lesson? How do you teach this lesson? Can I come see you? Do you have any fun things to do? I'm really struggling teaching this. It can be behavior. You can say, hey, I have a student that's really struggling with listening and following directions, or they don't do their work. You can collaborate and focus on that. And then the bottom bullet point, the last part we're going to talk about, is ensuring consistent progress monitoring. Sometimes as teachers and leaders, we feel like we're not doing enough or nobody's making growth. But if we have that progress monitoring, that data we can refer back to, we can say, oh, they did understand this better than I thought. Or most of these students did not pass this test. I wonder why, and they can go back and look and say, oh, we need to focus on this and this and this. So it's working together in different groups, and you can be a part of multiple PLCs, multiple professional learning communities as an educator, but the main goal is to problem solve and align the student goals to give them interventions that they need. The second strategy of productivity is data-driven decision, what we were just talking about. So we need to use that student data that we have to drive instruction and behavior supports. The big part of that is having behavior data. You can, as a teacher, I've been there too, we'd say, oh, this student just talks all the time, and they do this, and they never do their work. But if you have that data of, we did this many assignments, they completed this many, they talked out this many times, they have this many office referrals, compared to these students who don't have any of that, then you can really see what areas they may need and the function behind the behavior of, are they trying to escape a certain activity? Are they trying to get attention during a certain activity? That will help with that. Communication and social emotional learning progress monitoring is a great deal and very beneficial. If the student cannot communicate, maybe that is why they are having behavior issues. Or if they are struggling to have self-soothing techniques when they get frustrated and don't know how to appropriately go through their emotions, that can be a big issue. So if you have that data of, we've taught this lesson, we try to talk about this, it's going to be beneficial to help you plan. Academic benchmarks, we have those throughout the year. They can be formative, summative, informal, whatever, to help you make those. And then the data helps to ensure whether interventions are meaningful and measurable. The productivity strategy number 3 we're going to talk about is using digital collaboration tools. So we need digital tools that enhance productivity. So in our school, if I was presenting this to my school, I would say we could use Google Workplace. We do use Microsoft Teams. We have shared digital folders, calendars, workflows. We have Canvas. We have a shared drive, a shared Google Drive. We have that website for resources for our school. We can use all of those to our benefit. And then we need to increase transparency and communication across those PLC teams. So if the 6th grade team and the 8th grade team can work together, then those kids can have more success because the teachers are all on the same page. Will it work? Okay, now we're going to talk about collaboration strategies. So collaboration strengthens leadership by building shared ownership, improving consistency of supports, increasing communication between staff, and fostering trust and shared problem solving. Collaboration strategy number 1, it goes with productivity. PLCs, they're so important. This kind of focuses on collaboration a little bit more within those PLCs. We can share student problem solving. So again, we can talk about those students that are struggling and how we can help them. We can talk about if they're aligned to the IEP. So if there's a group of gen ed teachers and they have kids in special education, they need to have a special education teacher in their PLC so they can see if the student's progress and classroom behavior and everything is matching their IEP and the supports and accommodations that they need. It also helps unify communication strategies, and the integrity fosters trust and respect. Collaboration strategy number 2 is co-teaching models. They are supports that are inclusive to give instruction to students with autism. There are many different types. These are 6 types of co-teaching. The first one is when one teacher teaches and the other one observes and either takes data or helps manage behavior or sits and listens so they can teach it the next time. The second co-teaching strategy is station teaching. As you can see from the picture, there's different stations. It could be an independent station for the students, but there's also a teacher teaching small groups, focusing on those interventions, the IEP goals, students that are struggling, students that are higher, that need that extension, whatever. There's parallel teaching, where the class is split in half and the teachers are teaching the same thing. Same room, different room, whatever. There's alternative teaching. I said that correctly. Where once one teacher teaches for a little bit and then stops, and the other teacher teaches for a little bit and then stops, and then they switch off. There's teaming, where they're both up at the front teaching at the same time, and then one teaching and one assisting. So one is teaching and one is walking around, really helping with those behaviors, stopping for students, specific students, asking them if they need help with different problems. Collaboration strategy number 3 is peer coaching and mentoring. So peer coaching benefits are it provides real-time feedback, supports reflective practice. We all need to be reflective of what did I do good, what do I need to do better, what am I going to change. It's on there twice, so we really need to do it. And then it also improves instructional consistency. So someone outside saying, oh, hey, I noticed you didn't do this as much, or you could do this better, or asking the question of how do you feel you did in this, we can reflect on that and say, oh, I need to be better and more consistent in teaching this way, or giving positive praise, whatever. Collaboration strategy number 4 is collaborative goal setting. We can all have a million things that we want to work on, but until we find that area that we need to and make a goal and things to achieve it, it's not going to happen. So we can make a goal together as a PLC, as an entire faculty at this junior high, however we want to do it. And we need to use student data to identify the needs, create shared team goals, develop action plans, have those steps in order to reach the goal, and then have that accountability and how they're going to check progress. Family and school collaboration is also super important for students with autism. We need to build those strong family partnerships. Start with a win. Don't just be the teacher, the leader, who calls the parents when there's a problem. Call them and say something positive about their student. Tell the student that you're going to call them and say something positive. Really increase that optimism, that positiveness, so you can build that relationship. Part of why we should collaborate between families and schools enhances alignment of strategies across environments, builds that generalization, as we're going to talk about later. It strengthens trust and communication, supports generalization of skills and expectations, and it improves the long-term outcomes for students with autism. Having families working together with families is so important. Some key summary and takeaways that we need to do. To remember, leadership is collaborative, intentional, and student-centered. Productivity improves when teams use data and structured communication. Families are essential partners in supporting students with autism. And research-based strategies promote meaningful academic change. This is not supposed to be there. Discussions and questions. So then this part, I would say, what questions do you have? What strategies stood out to you? Have a discussion about that. What are you going to pick one thing you're going to implement first? Talk about it, have everyone write it down. And what supports do you need to begin? Make a plan with a coach or a specialist. And references.